former welterweight champion of the world, Jeff Horn. Welcome to the KO Boxing Show.
Thanks for having me on, Peter.
Great to have you on, mate. How's lockdown treating you? How's training coming along? And just probably for you now, it's just making sure you don't put on too much weight, stuff like that, the basics.
Yeah, that is the main part, but I guess that's with everyday life as well, trying not to put on too much weight. And look, the key is I'm keeping on moving and trying not to eat too much bad stuff. And yeah, it seems to be under control at the moment.
All right, mate. No TikTok or anything with videos like all the AFL footballers have been doing, or you're staying off that?
Yeah, no TikTok. I have been on Snapchat. But that's because of my daughter. She loves it at the moment. She loves going hair. She likes changing all her hairstyles on there.
Okay, mate. Mate, let's start with a moment for you with your career. The 2012 Olympic Games. You fought. You were there and you went right up to the quarterfinals. You lost to the Ukraine Vershinak in the quarterfinals. He went on to win a silver medal. He's now undefeated as well as a professional. What can you remember about those London Games? Because the things I can remember was you, and I can also remember Anthony Joshua being this big heavyweight that's going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, there were exciting times, that's for sure. The London Olympic Games. It was a big moment in my career. It's something that I'd been training for and working for my whole boxing career, which wasn't that long at that point, really. It was about 4 or 5 years that I was actually boxing for. So I was pretty lucky to be able to make that Olympics with that short of time. And yeah, there were some big names fighting. Anthony Joshua was one of them. Dennis Berenchik, he's the one that beat me. And he was from Ukraine. That was in the quarterfinals. So I went all right. I won my first 2 fights, but I guess he was just too much for me in the end.
You started with a martial arts background and you were doing, was it karate or Zendu-kai, or what were you doing when you first started as a kid?
Yeah, well, I think it's Zendu-kai. I don't know. Glenn would have to correct me on this one, but he started his own kind of martial arts, which was his Scorpion martial arts from his place, from his gym.
Did he give you a black belt?
No, I never went for the black belt. I was never. Yeah, I was never interested in the whole belt side of it. I just decided to.
You just wanted to belt guys.
I just wanted to fight.
All right, mate, we get that. Mate, you turned professional, and I remember you turning professional because you were an Olympian, and it was very similar to the days of Danny Green and Michael Katsidis for me. You know, we keep a close eye for the Olympians, and you kind of in your 7th fight, you fought Ben Rabar, and that was a shock to me because he was 37-3 at the time. He fought for 2 world titles. He fought Uranga, which I thought he won the world title. And so, I mean, he was a guy that no one really wanted to fight. And here's you in your 7th pro fight going across to Perth to fight him. It was very risky at the time, but you guys, what were you guys feeling? That we have to step up, we can't miss challenges. That's got to be our motto.
Yeah, look, I think I just won the Australian title, and I knew I had to go on to bigger and better things after that and take on some tougher opposition. And that fight kind of came out of nowhere, and we got an offer to go over to fight him in Perth. And it was a winner-take-all fight. I think it was a $6,000 for us in the end, and we were like, yeah, that's like the biggest payday we've had offered for a while. And well, I was pretty confident. You have to be as a fighter. You're kind of confident in your own ability. And I'd got rid of Sam Columban very quickly, who was meant to be a nice, tough fight. And I was like, I think I've got it. I think I should be able to beat this guy.
No, that's great attitude, mate. Great attitude. Then after that, we kind of got to see you in like Joseph Parker undercards, which was good because you'd sign up with Dean Lonergan and you had a promotional outfit now. And you know, it was always exciting for us back to Australia because we got to see you, then we got to see Joseph Parker. What was it like fighting under Joseph Parker? I know he's a great guy. I've been over there for his fights and he's very popular, but how did you feel feeling like being on an undercard and building yourself up that way?
Yeah, look, it was great. And it was all I kind of knew in that era of boxing anyway. So I was used to fighting on undercards and of bigger names, and I thought I was pretty chuffed to be able to be fighting under Joseph Parker's undercards, because I knew how popular he was, and he is a great guy. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm able to kind of be just before, so I knew people would be watching the fights at that stage, just before a big act like Joseph Parker, and yeah, it was exciting. It was exciting times.
No, and then kind of the second phase fell in for you, because then you started being a main event on your own Fox shows in your own state. So the jigsaw puzzle's starting to come into play. And I mean, I remember when you fought Rendell Bailey and then you fought Ali Fanuka. And I remember Bob Arum being in the crowd, I think, for Ali Fanuka from South Africa. And there started being talk that you're going to fight Manny Pacquiao. And I mean, to us fans, we were thinking, gee, is this really going to happen? Is Jeff Horn going to fight Manny Pacquiao? What was going through your mind at the time when you were getting those Fox shows, you're back in your home state, your main event? Your confidence must have started to grow to start believe that, you know, I'm getting the platform I want here.
Yeah, look, I started taking on some really tough opposition in Brisbane, and look, there was some tough fights. So there were some tough guys, but I was still beating them and even stopping a couple of them, and it really made my confidence grow and really trust in my ability of what I could do as a boxer. And I think I was like everyone else when I got the phone call that Manny Pacquiao was going to fight me in Brisbane. I was just like, what? Is this real? Someone pulling one of those TV pranks on me?
Yeah, look, it must have been that type of moment, because I remember you kind of filmed like a promo ad, because Manny was saying, oh, you know, I might fight Amir Khan, and there was deflections. And I remember you filmed the promo ad, and it had Manny, you were saying, we've got money here in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Come and see the limelight. You kind of egged him onto it. When the final moment came, contracts were signed, and you were doing the tours of press conferences of Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and you got to meet Manny. When was the moment in your sort of own skin that you thought, obviously when you first saw him, you would have thought, gee, it's a modern day superstar. You know, we're all overawed. We see Manny, he's a senator. When was that moment when you thought, hang on, this guy's a human being. I'm going to be fighting this guy. I think I can beat him. When was that
Yeah.
moment when you sort of saw him? Was there an incident that happened where you thought, hang on, he's only
Uh,
human, I'm feeling comfortable around him?
Look, Manny was a superstar, and he was the whole way through, even our preparations. And yeah, meeting him, I guess, in the flesh and seeing him that he's just a normal. Well, there was nothing special about him looking at Pacquiao as you do with anyone else, but it was just like, I can beat this guy. Like, if I move the way I move and be unpredictable, I know that that's kind of how Pacquiao fights as well. I was like, if I'm bigger than this guy, and if I can use it against him, I can win this fight. I just had full ability, trust in my abilities at that stage.
When you were doing the press conferences with him, what did you pick up about him? How did you find him as a bloke?
Look, he just seemed very blasé when he was here in Australia. Look, I've thought very highly of Pacquiao in boxing for a long time, and he's been probably one of my idols. I don't probably have many boxing idols, but Pacquiao was extraordinary to watch, and the way his demeanor just around the sport and everything, he's just seemed like a really nice guy, but he could fight like a little monster. So I wanted to kind of be like that, and to get the opportunity to fight him and try and beat him, that was gold.
No, mate, it was gold. For us that were watching, it was kind of like if you're in a motion movie, Pacquiao comes on. This is pre, you know, the press conferences. It was like, here comes on. He's got about 50 bodyguards around him. It's like Tom Cruise is in the building, and then you come on as a co-star where you just walk on the set type of thing. That's the feeling we were getting.
Yeah.
And I guess that would have drove you fight night because I remember being at the weigh-in, and I remember Manny was getting all the sort of hoo-ha, and you were just with Glenn and I think Dundee, and it was just like a normal fight for you that, you know, the normal fans were all trying to get to Manny and they were leaving you alone. And I think at the press conference, you were probably thinking, gee, you know, at the Mayweather fight, Manny wasn't playing with his phone. He was so focused. He was looking at me.
Yeah,
He's like playing with his phone. I'm getting nothing off him. I'm going to win this guy's respect. Is that the kind of attitude you felt?
definitely. I was a bit frustrated the way he did come in and he was on his phone. He just seemed out of it and not kind of interested. And it gave me the feeling that he was that confident he didn't even care. Like, he didn't even really know who he was fighting. He's just like, oh yeah, they've picked a guy over in Australia for me. I'll go knock him over very quickly, and that's a good 10 mil or something in his pocket, and see you later. And I was just thinking to myself, mate, I'm going to make this extremely difficult for you, and I wasn't going to be going down without a fight.
When the fight started, you're in the ring with him, and it's a few like clinches. Was he ever talking to you, like break, move back, and you kind of listened to him early out of respect, and then you kind of thought, hang on, I'm going to jump on him here till the referee tells me to get off him. I'm not. Was there an incident like that? I think I read about something like that. Was he saying anything to you in the ring, or did he say anything to you after the fight? What did you get any congratulations off him?
I didn't get any congratulations that I can remember. I think I might have got a pat on the back or something, or something from him. But I can remember. I don't know if it was that fight. Now I had that many probably punches in the head. It's hard to remember, but I'm pretty sure in that fight I can remember him saying break at the start, or like let go or something, and then I automatically went back the first time. I was like, oh, hold on a second, he doesn't like me doing that, obviously, so maybe I should keep doing it and keep clinching, and because I don't have to listen to him, I have to listen to the referee.
If you got a phone call before the end of your career to say Manny will give you a rematch at welterweight, though, would you go on a soup diet for 3 months to get to welterweight fighting again?
Yeah, I'd definitely been keen on it. I guess would have to actually have the offer come through to actually probably consider it, but I would be interested.
Did you ever get an offer for a rematch in Manila? Did that ever come through? That was reported.
No rematch was offered for any fight anywhere.
I remember when the Australian basketball team played the Filipino basketball team, there was about 100 people brawling. I don't know if you can remember that. And it made world news. And I said,
yeah, I can remember something about there was a brawl in the basketball.
Yeah, I said, we should do the basketball on Friday night and then Manny and Jeff on Saturday night, and we just go to war on Sunday. All right, mate. After that fight, you went on to obviously win the world title, and it changed your life because, I mean, there's certain moments in sport, and, you know, we don't say praise too much, but, mate, that was a Kathy Freeman moment. That was a, you know, that was a moment where you're going to pinch yourself, and in 100 years' time, I'll still be talking about it. It's a Farlap moment. So congratulations to you, because Manny's form after that's been sensational. He's defeated Broner, he's defeated Maniatis, he's defeated Thurman. So it's not like you beat a guy that was on the way out.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was worried about when everyone was talking about it as well. Everyone's saying after I beat him that Manny's had it, Manny was done. You got him at the right time, but then the guy went back and won the world title of some pretty decent guys. So I was very, very happy and proud of him, but proud of myself as well to go, yeah, I did beat a very good Pacquiao.
No, for sure, mate. Then after that, obviously you became a national celebrity here in Australia, and everyone knew who you were. Your life changed, basically. I remember I saw on the news you're putting out the bins, and you're getting filmed putting out the bins, where normally, I think you bought a new house, you bought a new car. Things started to change after that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And there's a funny story about the bin thing, because, look, I'm a nice guy as it is anyway, and I can remember the paparazzi coming to my house, and I was like, hey, like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I just wanted to get a photo.
Wasn't Grantley Geezer, was it?
No. It was just a photographer. I don't know who it was. He's a reporter, not a photographer.
No, I
know. But the guy just asked me, he's like, I just need you to do something natural that, like, like putting out your bins or something. I was like, yeah, sure, you can get a photo of me putting out the bins, and I actually did it for him. There wasn't even bin day, so that was a funny story about that one.
Oh, okay. No, that's great, mate. Look, after that, you went to fight Gary Corcoran, a tough Englishman in your home state, and that was a great fight. That was so entertaining. We were loving it. You know, it was like big
Yeah,
time boxing back in Australia, and we were getting spoiled. Obviously, then came the moment that you had to travel to America. You're fighting Terence Crawford. Tell us about the experience about going to Vegas, being on the big billboards and stuff like that. Did it make you kind of pinch yourself and think, am I really doing this?
yeah. Look, Gary Corcoran, yeah, he was an absolutely very tough guy, and he gave me a tough fight, that's for sure. And I've got very much a high respect for him.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, it was over to Vegas to fight Terence Crawford, and um, that was a tough fight, very tough fight. As we know, I got stopped in the ninth round, that brutal ninth round that I normally keep having. But yeah, he just going over there was a bit like I probably did it wrong where I stayed in one of the main casinos and I had a lot of people around, and I think that sapped a lot of energy. And I had a newborn child at that stage, and she was in the same room as us, even though we asked for kind of multiple rooms, and it was just one big room, and we had her over in the corner. So there was a lot of things I could have probably done a little bit better leading into that fight, but just staying in a hotel room probably wasn't the smartest move. And I just felt like we were the underdogs. Definitely, we were treated like we weren't going to win that fight, and I guess he had everything, and they were trying to show that we had nothing.
Yeah, no, I understand. But, mate, you still gave it your best shot. And there were moments where you were landing some big shots on Crawford as well, and you kind of half wobbled him. And at the moment, he's probably the best pound for pound fighter in the world. That's arguably, but he's right up there. I mean, the guy's a real top notch fighter. Since then,
Yeah,
you came back, you had the Zerafa fights. The first one obviously didn't go to plan. And then the second one, you wanted the rematch straight away. And that's something to me that proves that you're a fighter. You didn't try and duck away from it. You said, okay, I'm kind of not a middleweight, but we fought the first one at middleweight. You wanted to fight Murata, obviously, as a major
yeah.
game plan. But then what was the feeling for you to do the rematch straight after? You sat the way you are?
Yeah, look, I like a challenge, and I took the Zerafa fight because I knew it was going to be probably the toughest fight probably I could have taken in Australia. But um, look, I probably took a few shortcuts where I shouldn't. The diet wasn't 100% on point. Um, there was just little tiny things that you'd kind of shave off here and there, and those little things kind of add up to a couple of percentage, and they're definitely not percentage you can let go against top quality opposition like Michael Zerafa, because he definitely proved himself that night that he wasn't a force to be reckoned with. And I was very frustrated with it, and I was like, oh, I know I've fought better opposition, and I know I can beat a guy like this. And I was very, very angry with the way he was talking about me and my trainer as well, and just kind of demeaning us and saying that we had done nothing and that we weren't very good. And I was just like, well, I want a rematch. I want to fight you again, and I want to prove not only to everyone else, I want to mainly prove to myself that I can do a lot better than what I did that first fight.
And in the rematch, it was basically Australian boxing, history there. It was an epic, and the ninth round, we're never going to forget. You pulled that Hail Mary right hand out just to keep the fire off him, and you went on to win the fight. Now, we got on to the next chapter, is Tim Tszyu. He's your next fight, and it must be so frustrating because now the fight would have been over if it wasn't for COVID, and we would have been talking about what happened. But where does the fight look like it's happening? I mean, I know we've got an epidemic and we've got to treat it seriously. And, it's killed 300,000 or 400,000 people. I mean, it is real. People need to realise
Yeah.
that. But we have taken measures in Australia, and we are shutting it down, and we are practicing social distancing. So the vaccine might not happen for another 18 months to 2 years. What happens if there is no vaccine? We need to open up our lives again. I don't know what that means as far as boxing and sport, but what are the feelers you're getting with your fight with Tim Tszyu? I mean, I'm hearing that by December, they're going to be letting venues open at 30%. So one seat, someone sits down, 2 vacant seats, 1 seat, someone sits down, 2 vacant seats. So they'll probably, if you've got a 20K, 25K venue, you're probably going to be able to get 7,000 or 8,000 people in there. Would that be enough to
Yeah.
get a Tim Tszyu fight on with you, or do we need it fully jam-packed?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not the promoter. I leave all the numbers and things to Dean Lonergan to figure out, to make sure everything kind of works. I suppose just thinking generally, I'd say a 1 in 3 stadium filled is not going to kind of be even that great, because you think of the cost of the venue and everything, the setup, you're still going to have that all the same, and you're still diminishing 2/3 of the profit or the money coming in. So I think I don't know if it's going to be possible to do that. I've actually got a phone call with a few of Tim's team and my team straight after interviewing with you, and we're going to be talking about what the next step might be and what the landscape might be that we might have to fight at. And will that be a stadium? I'm not sure. I'm just going to listen to what everyone's got to say.
All right, mate. No, that's a great attitude, because with these kind of unprecedented times, there's no real structure to where we go. So, and the virus keeps tricking us. We keep thinking that we know everything about it, but we might not know anything about it. So right at the moment, I know sport's coming back slowly, and the AFL's coming back, and the rugby's coming back. And you're a rugby man. You're not an AFL man, are you?
Yeah, I used to be when I was younger. I followed the AFL quite religiously when I was when the Lions were doing quite well, actually. So you could probably say I was jumping because they started going really bad.
Bandwagon.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely more interested in watching the NRL these days.
Okay, mate. Before we sign you off, is there a funny story that you've had in boxing where you can, if you're ever at the pub and you've had 20 drinks, what would the funny story you say about boxing? Or is there anything that, there's probably a million, but
yeah, there probably is a few, and they all kind of.
Give us one with Manny then, because you and him, let's hope there's a rematch. There's got to be a funny thing that happened in the press tours or when you were going around. Because was there ever a time when you and him were in one bus and you were getting carted off to a place?
No, Manny was a different beast in that aspect. He was always privately chauffeured somewhere and always had a million people around him. So he was definitely not someone I got close to in the whenever I fought someone, it's kind of like you kind of become a little bit closer to them and you've got a lot of respect for them. And even though I've got a lot of respect for Manny, I've had nothing really to do with him other than those 12 rounds of fighting.
What did you find about him though? Did it seem like a bit of a surreal experience the way he lives his life to compare to the way you are? Because he's always got 100 people around him and he's always doing something at any particular time. And he's probably going to be the next president of the Philippines. Would you ever like to go to the Philippines and do a meet and greet with the Filipino people? Because you're massive there.
Yeah, look, I've heard a lot of things, not so great things about myself in the Philippines. So I don't know if I would risk going there. But look, I'd definitely treat everyone the way I would like to be treated there. So if I ever went, I'd be definitely nice to everyone, and would hope that everyone would be nice back.
I'm sure they would. I think that's our funny story there, mate.
Yeah.
Signing you up. Thanks for your time, buddy. And mate, you're a superstar in the sport, and just keep doing what you're doing. And we're looking forward to the Tim Tszyu fight. And thank you for your time.
Too easy. Thanks, Peter. Catch up.
Cheers, mate. Bye.